Gonna play some Hex-A-Gone, baby!
Welcome guys and girls.
Let's get it on. Pullbacks are essential on this, especially if they're running into your area.
Just going to not talk during some of the live
I kind of want to
demonstrations.
Okay.
Avoiding the crowd, moving back on myself to try and cut off my own little sections.
Crud.
Mistakes will happen. Keep an eye on the movement of other players. Now if you pay attention, that jester actually cut me off pretty well right there.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Need to sort of cut this section off.
When you are cutting sections off, you want to cut large areas, but at the same time you want to cut off all the sections that lead over to your section.
It's going to be hard.
We're actually starting out with a slightly harder gameplay. And I have to go for a risky move on the jump dive. This guy's
going to eat up all of these tiles.
as you could hear me saying, eat up all of those tiles. We go for the dive and we notice this patch over here. We're just going to risk it for a chocolate biscuit. And that's the first Hex-A-Gone live stream example. Moving on, what we're going into is we're going into example number 2. So when you are on the Hex-A-Gone, sometimes the jump dive tactic is okay. When you are actually jumping down onto a section, for example, if you see somebody and you need to cut them off, what you can actually do is you can dive down and cut off 3 tiles at the same time. That way you can actually create a blockage. Here you'll see me just using the outside. I'm going to take no unnecessary risk because I've got a lot of tiles right there. You can almost see a little bit of a hesitant one. This is an example of one of the hardest Hex-A-Gones you will actually see. So when you are in this sort of situation, you need to pray on a little bit of good fortune as well at the same time. You're going to see eventually when I run out of tags on the actual tiles. Now I noticed below me that there is absolutely nothing. I also noticed that the blue section is contested, so that's going to be dwindled quite fast between 2 players. So we're going to bank on them battling it out. We fall here, but we go for the dive, which gets the dub. And there we go. Right, so this one, we actually start sticking to the outside. Unfortunately, we don't end up with a good section here to begin with. We're just going to use those tiles to stay up as long as possible. Do some little 360s. You see I went for the pullback there. Pullbacks are essential on Hex-A-Gone now. It is one of the new ways of doing Hex-A-Gone, because a lot of people will not be able to get out of the animation of the pullback because they don't know how. So for example, you can see me making sure that jelly bean comes down to the next area, because we don't want to give him a section all to himself so he's able to slow jump and everything like that. We notice the red jelly bean. Unfortunately, he chooses to come over to our section, so we pull back the guy that landed in front of us again. Usually what will happen is when you are actually doing pullbacks, people won't mess with you later on, because if they fall down to your pullbacks and they notice you're around, they won't actually mess with your section. However, sometimes this will go completely the opposite way and they'll still mess with you. So I do notice quite a large section here that I needed to cut off, so cut that off, turn left round here, Gonna go for the forward play. Unfortunately, that Sonic ended up doing a fast play as well at the same time. Now, if you notice specifically, I go to the middle area here and I go for a risky dive to cut this player off. And then I'm gonna do it nice and fast, bank on him, mess it up, turn left, and go for the dive play again. Diving at the end when you actually fall down can sometimes earn you crowns, as you could see in the last two examples. Just go for a slow dive there. Holding my hands out, trying to give him fair warning. Unfortunately, I tumble over there, but that works in our favour because in this example, two boxers are actually working together. This boxer that's taking out my tiles right now, go for the grab, but as I grabbed there, I actually did a 360 which knocked me down myself. He's not got many tiles left, so he's going to be onto this section very shortly. There he is, right there. Okay, so we're just trying to cut off sections. We're going to cut him off as well at the same time because he's got it too good over there. If you notice a player that does have a very large area, you do want to cut them off as much as physically possible. I was actually worried about that pigeon cutting me off and he ended up making a mistake as well. So unfortunately I end up diving through the next floor. Now what a lot of people do is they go from the circle and they just do a circular motion when they are taking out the tiles. What I like to do is I like to actually turn back on myself as well at the same time. So like you can see the pigeon as an example there. I'm just going to cut him off, make sure he can't get over here. Going to start making my way over to the other side. I noticed somebody landed on there, so I've got no choice but to go for a fast play there and cut him off as fast as possible. That way we can control this section and we can have this section for as long as physically possible. Now that we do have this little small section, it gives us an idea to change our camera angles and to see where is being contested and where is least contested. This is the dive example of the 3 platforms. Now I actually slow this part down because I think I just won a cheater. Invisible tile much? 1, 2? So if you all notice what I slowed down there, that was a bit dodgy, so we're going to bring him down to the last area also. Want to be careful of him not landing on our head at the same time. The way you can stop people from landing on your head is basically look at the tiles that you're on. You'll get a shadow above the top of you. That'll give you fair warning that somebody could possibly land onto your head. Again, cutting out the centre. Go for the free tile play. Notice that that ninja's got a better position, so we need to get forward, so we do a little bunny hop over across there. And we're just going to use this little section right here because we can always double back on ourselves. Take our time with the slow jumps, so we're actually going to slow our jumps down much more now. We're not going to go for the risky tiles on the left hand side, no point in taking unnecessary risk. If we had to take the risk over to those 4 tiles, we would have done so. Moving on to the bird play. Okay, so I'm just using the outside, that way I can control exactly where people are coming from. The Viking's going for a play where he basically takes the section out. Those two are going to contest each other, so we're not too worried about the top section right now. We get knocked down 2 layers. The most important thing is, when you get knocked down so many layers, not to panic. Again, we're going with the cut-off play. Unfortunately, he makes it across. This guy's going for the actual grab plays on me, so it is a smart thing to do, so well played to him. And he keeps making it over to my section, and you can see he's doing the grab play again. But we're just making it a hell of a lot more difficult for that player to be able to grab us. Now, you can see that we've actually got quite a lot of tiles, but we do notice another guy over there. And as we do that, I actually got distracted myself, and I give him basically all of that area. So this game, he should actually have won that one. Okay, so there's a jester. The jester fell down. You see the shadow that was on my screen just? Pay very close attention to the shadows. Gonna cut this guy off. As we cut him off, somebody cuts us off. So we actually 360 on ourselves. We're gonna start taking out the middle. Try and cut off this player as fast as possible. Force them into a mistake. Go for the grab play. Bring them down. And there you go. Moving on, we're just going to use these little sections right here. We're keeping eyes on where we need to go next. Now this is a bit risky here. I'm going to go for a fast bunny hop because this guy is going to be cut off. Now you see I would dive to the right hand side. The reason I dive to the right hand side is that would allow me to go through all of those middle tiles, even though they are singular tiles. We got a nice section here and we just got bunked off the section by the wizard. I'll cast a spell on you. We're not actually going for the dive play on that one, so sometimes it's actually smarter to go for the section that is below you if a certain jump is going to screw you over. Again, I'm going to take out the middle. Make sure these outer tiles can't be used. Unfortunately, as I do so, the dinosaur comes over and he tries to go for the grab play on me. To get out of the grab animations, you just want to keep hold of your forward key and basically use the space bar after the grab you. If you are on controller, alternatively use your A button, as in your jump. Or your side panels. So this wizard is going to eat up a lot of tiles right now. We're going to eat up the tiles in conjunction with them, but we're actually going for the singular tiles this time. We're going to go down on this section. We know that he could possibly land on our head. We're going to have to double back on ourselves because of the penguin. Double back on ourselves because the ninja actually got us on the cutoff there. We're going to see if we can get back over to the next section. So we do go for the dive. There we go. We get it. Changing our camera angles to see where the best landing opportunity is going to be. You never want to land where 3 or 4 players are contesting themselves. That way you can just take your own section and you'll end up with more tiles because they'll be contesting the tiles a lot more. Peace.